Hi dear students, today we have a poem by Shakespeare, not marble nor the gilded monuments. By William Shakespeare. Now, Shakespeare was there in the 16th century. He was there during Queen Elizabeth's reign. He was there in the golden period of English history. And he was the most brilliant product of the golden age of English history. Shakespeare was a great playwright and a great poet. He wrote around 37 plays, each of which is a masterpiece of its own kind. Shakespeare remains unsurpassed throughout the whole history. Even today, no one has surpassed him. Shakespeare has passed the test of time. He was a versatile man. He was a genius. Once one of the Britishers, when India was still dependent on the Britishers, said, "We would rather give up India than Shakespeare." India was such a rich colony for them. They were getting so much from it. They were getting so much gold from it, so many resources from it. They were enriching their own country by exploiting India. Yet they said, if we had to choose between India and Shakespeare, we would rather give up India than Shakespeare. Shakespeare is so beloved. For them, Shakespeare is more precious than anything else. Anyway, Shakespeare is not a poet or a playwright of one country only. He's a universal poet, a universal playwright. The themes he has discussed in his plays are of universal value. His philosophy is of universal value. When he came on the scene in the 16th century, he took the literary world and the theatrical world by storm. And the storm of his fame that started at that time has not yet ceased. It continues. Even today, there are hundreds of books being published on Shakespeare every week, every month. Even today, people are just researching and researching and researching and researching on his plays. People interested in psychology find psychology in his plays. Those who have a literary bent of mind find the best literature in his plays. Those who want to go back and probe the history also find his dramas of great value. He touches the hearts of all people and he touches the minds of all kinds of people. Anyways, here we have a poem under discussion and not his plays. Most of his poems were written in sonnet form. Now, let me tell you what sonnet is and then we'll talk about the poem. A sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. This poem was invented in Italy and it came to England later on. The Italian form of sonnet consisted of one octave and one sestet. One octave and one sestet. An octave is a stanza of 8 lines, whereas a sestet is a stanza of Let me repeat myself. An Italian sonnet consisted of an octave and a sestet. An octave is a stanza of 8 lines and a sestet is a stanza of 6 lines. So there were two divisions, octave and sestet. 8 lines, a stanza of 8 lines, a stanza of 6 lines, and that's how they made 14 lines. That was the Italian sonnet. Now let's talk about the English sonnet, or Shakespeare made some alterations in that form. And the form of sonnet that Shakespeare used is called Shakespearean form of sonnet. So let's talk about that. Shakespearean sonnet. A Shakespearean sonnet consists of 3 quatrains and 1 couplet. Now let me explain what they are. One quatrain is a stanza of 4 lines. So there were 3 stanzas of 4 lines each. 3 stanzas of 4 lines each. So they make 12, and then a couplet. A couplet is a stanza of 2 lines. That's how it made. It makes 14 lines. 3 stanzas of 4 lines each and one couplet. The usual rhyme scheme of Shakespearean sonnet is A B A B in the first quatrain, means in the first stanza of 4 lines. Then C D C D in the second stanza. E F E F in the third stanza, and then G G in the couplet. So A B A B C D C D E F E F and G G is the rhyme scheme of a Shakespearean sonnet. That's the usual rhyme scheme. May not always be like this. Shakespeare wrote a lot of sonnets. Not Marble Nor the Gilded Monuments is sonnet number 55 in the collection. This poem tries to immortalize his friend. Shakespeare says that monuments will perish, human beings will be dead, but then my friend, you will be living in my poem, because my poem is immortal and it will immortalize you. So Shakespeare has skillfully and convincingly immortalized his friend in this poem. We'll see the progress of argument in each stanza. So let's begin the poem. The first quatrain. Quatrain number 1 means the first stanza of 4 lines. Here it says, not marble nor the gilded monuments. Our princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme. But you shall shine more brightly in these contents. Then unswept stone, besmeared with sluggish time. Here it says, not marble nor the gilded monuments are princes. Not marble. Marble here means the monuments made of marble, like the Taj Mahal. So not marble means neither the monuments made of marble, nor the gilded monuments, nor the monuments polished with gold, or covered with gold, or gold plated. So neither the monuments made of marble, nor the monuments polished with gold are princes. So today we make the monuments of ministers, politicians, big people. In those times they made the monuments of the princes, kings, queens, etc. So not marble nor the gilded monuments. So neither the monuments made of marble nor the monuments polished with gold shall outlive this powerful rhyme. Outlive means to live longer than. So these things, those monuments will not be able to live longer than this powerful rhyme, than this powerful poem of mine. So Shakespeare is talking about this very poem. He says that the monuments made of marble and the monuments polished with gold will not be able to live longer than this poem, this powerful poem that I'm writing right now. That's what he's saying. Shakespeare was persuaded that his poem would pass the test of time, that the monuments will perish, the big grand monuments will perish, but the powerful poem, the poem will outlive them, will live longer than them. But you shall shine more brightly in these contents. Shakespeare says to his friend, hey my friend, you will shine more and more brightly in these contents, means in the contents of the poem. And what are the contents of a poem? The lines of the poem. So he says to his friend, Hey my friend, you will shine more and more brightly in the lines of my poem with the passage of time. Time will not be able to kill you, as time will kill the marble monuments and the gilded monuments. But you will go on living, you will go on shining in the lines of my poem. And that is very true. Every time you are reading the poem, his friend is actually shining because the poem is in praise of his friend. This is a eulogy. Eulogy is a poem of praise to someone. So he has praised his friend. And every time you read this, you're praising his friend. So his friend is shining more and more brightly in these contents. His friend is shining more and more brightly than the unswept stone. Unswept means not taken care of, neglected. Stone means monuments, stone monuments, etc. So you shall shine more brightly than the neglected monuments. Unswept stone means neglected, and he's using shall with you. That means he's saying it very strongly. It is a fact that, he knew it as a fact. He was so convinced the about his poem being everlasting. So he says, my friend will shine more and more brightly than the neglected stone, neglected monuments. Well, the neglected monuments lose their glamour, they lose their sheen, they turn into ruins. Nobody pays attention to them, nobody goes there. But his friend will be shining more and more brightly. Then the unswept stone, then the neglected monuments. Besmeared means made dirty with sluggish time with time. So time makes things dirty. Time causes things to perish, to die away, to fade. Time destroys things. So the monuments will be besmeared means made dirty by the time. And the time is called sluttish time. Now you see, a slut is a prostitute. What will happen to a man if he goes in company with a prostitute or a slut? He will lose his reputation. A good person will lose his reputation in company with. What Shakespeare means to say is this: as a good person loses his reputation in company with a slut, in the same way the monuments lose their glamour, their reputation, their fame, their sheen in company with the prostitute called time. As a prostitute spoils or besmears the reputation of a good person, in the same way time besmears or spoils the reputation of monuments. Time makes them outdated. Time causes them to perish. Time takes away their sheen, their glamour, their attractiveness, everything. I really hope that you have understood this stanza.